Sayulita Wellness, home of your inner peace.
All right, so welcome. I am here with Brandy and Nick, who just completed one of our amazing retreats, and they did our couples retreat. So we're going to learn a little bit more about their experience. So first and foremost, can you guys each share why did you come to this retreat?
So I came to this retreat because I was struggling a lot with anxiety and depression. Our son, he just turned 20 yesterday, and he's been going through a rough time. I just wanted to hopefully help myself with that anxiety and depression about his mental health, so that way I could be better prepared to help him, through whatever he's going through. So we started our spiritual journey a few years ago. We accidentally had a Kundalini awakening, which was pretty intense. But so we've been following our path, and we've been going through a lot with our son's mental health. And like, I really was holding on to a lot of like, it's my fault. I'm no good. I should have done better, the things that we do as parents. And so I found this retreat. I have used medicines over the past 3 years to help my journey and help my life. And so I found this amazing retreat, and I signed up for it. I'm one of those people, like, if it feels like it's something I should do, then I'm going to do it.
Amazing.
And I thought it was going to be a couples retreat. I've also done a little bit of plant medicine as well. And so I knew that there was going to be some work done within myself. But I knew it was just an opportunity for us to kind of get away from the stress of life, reconnect, do some self-work and some self-love. But it definitely exceeded those expectations.
Amazing.
Sure.
That's so great to hear. And I'm so glad you guys were open to this experience and had your accidental Kundalini awakening, which is perhaps a story for another time, but it sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds very interesting. So going into that, so what did you each gain individually and as a couple? So maybe let's talk about like individually what you gained from it, and then we can talk about like what you got out of it as a couple.
Sure.
Okay, so during our retreat, it was amazing, first of all. Using the medicines prior, not in like that kind of setting. Like, I've never worked with a shaman. Like, I kind of had like these expectations of how it would go because I've done it previously. Completely different scenario. Like, the second we walked in, they started nourishing our bodies, preparing us for our ceremony. They made sure we were hydrated. We drank electrolytes, water. The food was all amazing, vegan food. Our chef, Cece, was phenomenal and beautiful.
I love
The
season.
meditations that they put us through, like every single thing we went through was to prep us for that ceremony. So, like, we had an intention setting ceremony, and my intention was to get my light brighter and hopefully heal some anxiety and depression. I got way more than that. So, we went into our ceremony, and it was beautifully put together. We took our medicine. We all separated to our own rooms, and I get in my room, and I'm expecting to go on a journey like I normally would. And so that's how I started out. Put my little eye mask on, got all comfy, and I was just chilling. And then our shaman came in, and the work began. And it was the most amazing experience I could ever have. I have suffered from extreme back pain for years. I have anxiety and depression. I'm diagnosed ADHD. What I went through was a miracle. It's hard to explain because, a lot of people won't believe what you're saying. As my journey started, I just got this like really bad excruciating pain in my whole backside of my body. And all of a sudden I'm like rubbing it and I'm like, oh, it hurts so bad. And then the shaman came in, she said, well, it hurts. And the pain intensified. And I just kept going at it. And then I would go into this, I don't know, it's like feeling of like just deep sorrow. And I would cry and I would just apologize to myself. And then I would go into this like very loving situation where I loved myself. And so it was very intense, very hard work. But as I was coming out of it, everything clicked that I had experienced while in the ceremony. Like all of that stuff that I had piled onto my back was other people's emotions, other people's trauma, my own trauma, generations of trauma. And I was carrying all that, you know, trying to protect the people I love. Well, in trying to protect the people I loved, I pushed my husband away. I pushed my children away when they needed me the most, you know? And so the whole experience was like me letting go of everything that I have been storing in my back. And then it went into being so sorry to myself for doing that to me, you know? And then it went into like re-loving myself. Like I found my little inner child in there and I felt like Nirvana was the shaman. I felt like Nirvana took me into her womb and loved me the way my mom didn't love me. And so I healed my childhood trauma. It was just the most amazing, beautiful, painful, exhausting experience ever, but worth every second. Every second. Like I went in there in extreme pain and I have no back pain. None.
Wow.
I went in, you know, on ADHD meds, antidepressants. I haven't taken it since. I went in eating crap and I came out just knowing in my soul that I'm a vegetarian. And this is like something that like my soul has been trying to pull me towards for the past year and a half because I've tried to be a vegetarian, but it's hard. But now it's like nothing. Like I don't want like I'm back to myself, you know, like I refound myself. I found my little inner child and I loved her, I nurtured her. And I found clarity on what my son needs. You know, like he didn't need me to fix it for him. He just needed me to love him. But I couldn't love him because I didn't love myself yet, you know? It was a very, very tense, insane, like, you know, we're still trying to wrap our heads around it, but the most beautiful thing I could have ever given myself.
I was getting full body chills and I felt like your sorrow. Like I just wanted to cry. Like I still kind of want to cry right now. So I could feel that energy that you're talking about. So that's amazing. Thank you so much, Brandy, for sharing that. I've been so excited to talk to you both because I knew I'd read your testimonial. I knew that you had such a positive experience, but it's just hearing your
and then like, what do you do with it, right? Because I know how amazing this medicine is. And I want everybody to feel this, right? But you can't really talk about it with people because they're going to be like, oh, you're crazy. Or, yeah, right, that's a drug. Or, you know, because of all these like preconceived things that people get put in their heads by society.
Yeah.
So like, how do you like share that and not get sent away, right?
Well, I think you're doing a great job right now by doing this kind of interview and just sharing your story. Like other people will find it, and you have to approach this thing with kind of more of a blank mind and like kind of like the perception of a child in order to kind of like allow the information to feel true. So I think people will feel like the truth in your words, and as long as they're not operating from that kind of ego mindset, and it'll reach the people that it needs to reach. But just in you sharing your story, like you're doing an amazing job, and not everyone feels comfortable to do that. So I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm just so grateful to both of you. So thank you.
And like everything that was done at our retreat was setting us up for success. The people they brought in for the meditation, yoga, somatics, it didn't matter, the psychotherapist, everyone there loved you. It didn't matter what you brought in, they knew you were going to be okay and they loved you no matter what, you know? everything that happened was made to help us, succeed in this, which is different from where I've used plant medicine elsewhere.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I was talking to one of our other retreat guests, Sarah. I did an interview with her last week, and
I love Sarah. She's
yeah,
amazing.
Sarah's amazing. So she did mushrooms on her own at home or in the woods, or,
Mhm.
everyone asks, oh, I can just do mushrooms on my own. But like you said, it's about the preparation the day before, the morning of, during the ceremony, having that kind of support helps you go to those deeper places because you've got to touch it and stay with those feelings in order to release them. Like you experience that huge release of energy, right? That stuck energy in your back. If you didn't have someone who could hold space for you and support you through that, you might have been too scared to go into those
I
feelings.
was terrified through the whole thing, honestly. Like whenever the pain started, it was like the most excruciating pain you could ever feel multiplied by like 1,000. Like it's really hard for me to get people to understand what I went through. It was the most excruciating pain you could not fathom, really. But like going through it, like it all clicked that like that's what it was. You know what I mean? And now, like I just see my chiropractor today, and she's like, "Whoa!" Like my whole back is different.
Whoa.
My body is different.
Because we're energy, right? So you move
Right.
out
It's just
all of that
beautiful and amazing. It's mind blowing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brandy. Like we'll continue to go into your
Absolutely.
story, but Nick, I want to give you a chance to kind of share what your experience was like.
Yeah, well, obviously going in thinking it was going to be a couples retreat, which it still was because we spent time together there, and we did grow closer because of it. But from the first intention setting ceremony, it was pretty clear, like, oh yeah, this is work for me. And during the ceremony itself, um, this woman who I'm usually 100% obsessed with was barely there in my mind. She was there for about 5% of my journey, like at least
Yeah.
going through that experience, but the rest was just it was all work that I needed to do. It was all revelations that I needed to see within myself. Um, for me, the first thing that always sticks out of my mind, at least right now, is the music that was played, that playlist. And I've listened to it since, trying to just kind of putting myself back there so it helped me process and recover ideas and memories to be able to explain what happened. But that music lived like in my soul. Like I became at such a high vibration. I was humming to it and singing to it, tapping my heart, my heart chakra, and that music would change and it would just pull these emotions out. And I knew that some hard work was coming, or I had to confront something within me, or something was about to be revealed, and I was about to start unpacking things. I did a lot of um, reflection on my past, as if I had my whole life was a movie and I just got to the end of the movie. And now where we were rewatching it again, and I could see all the things in my life that led to what an amazing person I am today. So I really did find a deep love for myself of who I am right now. The dreams I wanted as a child, or as an adolescent, the romanticized views of love and warriors and magic and dragons, or whatever science fiction, all these stories that I would always have in my head, and very creative mind and stuff. But it was realization that I'm living those dreams now. Yeah, there's hard things in the world, but that's just everyday life. And like those dreams are here and present and real. And kind of one analogy to kind of wrap it all up for me is like a marble statue. A beautiful marble statue starts off as, a block of marble, but the statue already exists within there. And I really feel like this medicine and this ceremony it was just chiseling away all those pieces until I could finally see what's really there. So
Yeah.
that was, and because, I think because we both love ourselves more deeply and we have just so much knowledge about that, is now we can just
Love other people.
love other people more. So being a couples retreat, we took advantage of that, but
tell her about. He thought I was setting him up like an intervention. At one point, he's like, "Oh, is this an intervention?"
Yeah.
Like that I planned everything, so he would have to go through this to find out who he was and to love himself, you know. But I'm like, heck yeah, if that's what you want to call it, then that's what it was. But
I think that's what's so interesting about the couples retreat is you do the mushroom ceremony on the second day, right? And then the MDMA is on the third day. So you have to go through that deep work of finding yourself, loving yourself, like healing within, and then you can connect with your partner more deeply and have those kind of higher vibrational positive experiences. But I think until you face what's underneath the surface, you're going to keep running those same programs. I've done the 7-day couples with my husband, and like you said, Nick, it's like normally we're like, he's rubbing my shoulders all the time. We're like always together, like you guys, like just we have this really close bond. But during the ceremony, we're primarily like totally in our own experience. At one point, though, I thought of him and I just felt like all these rainbow colors, so much love, right? Yeah, but for the most part, just totally in our own journey. And
Yeah, I know the five, like I said, the 5% that she was there or was like I came to this revelation of like the story of life, the purpose of life. Like it's you and me. Like I was like, baby girl, it's you and me. And I was like, I don't know if it was out loud in real life, in the physical world, the third dimension, or if it was all in my head in other dimensions, but I was just like belting it as if some primal force was just yelling it from like my soul of like how much like we're the king and queen of the universe. We are alpha and omega, truly twin flames, like we're just meant to handle and tackle this life together. And it was just all these little moments. Did I say the time traveler thing yet?
no,
I don't think I did. So it was like that moment in time, I had found the first tribe. I'd gone back to the source, of everything. Like, was I on my deathbed? And I was reviewing my life, but it was as if I was a time traveler. I was realizing that I was a time traveler that had gone back in time to give myself clues as to who I am now. And if I went back and watched the movie of my life again, I could see those moments in time of who I really am and the good in me and the love in me and just the beauty that's already there and it's existed for all time. And that was, I replayed that phase so much in my journey.
That's so beautiful. I've experienced very similar things to what you describe. And I think that's what's interesting when you know there is truth there is when you're reflecting something and someone's like, oh, I feel that too, or I've experienced that in my ceremony. And so it's really nice to hear you say that out loud and to be like a beautiful, healthy relationship between two loving people who are just growing and wanting to improve themselves. And also, a healthy man talking about his feelings, which is really, I think our society needs a lot more of that. So yeah, thank you so much. And then so I feel like we've touched a lot on your kind of individual experiences, but would you guys mind sharing a little bit, just the high level of the MDMA? Like, what was that like as a couple to experience that kind of ceremony?
It was really nice. I was in such a peaceful place that I was like, I don't really care what we do. I'm just here. I'm just like enjoying just being, and it's been a long time since I was out of my own head to just be. Yeah. So like in the couples retreat, they like brought in a massage table and massage oils, and they made like petals all around everything on the bed and the massage table. They ran us a bath and put petals around it, petals in it. It was so beautiful. So we really took the time to like reconnect with each other. We gave each other massages. We talked about everything that we were feeling and thinking. And the MDMA really helps bring that out because it just makes you feel happy and relaxed and like more loving,
You want to tell the truth.
Yeah, and it's like the truth serum. Yeah. So anything that you're thinking is going to come out. So it's really good, especially for couples if they need to learn how to communicate better. Luckily for us, we communicate great. So the MDMA part was just like a nice, relaxing day for me. We didn't do a whole lot. It was my birthday, so we did go to dinner that night. They booked us this beautiful restaurant. They arranged everything. We didn't have to do anything, and it was amazing.
Mhm.
Like the staff there are phenomenal. They become your family. Like I have talked to my shaman every day since I left. You
That's-
know, like they just become a part of you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. And
Yeah.
I always share that with people. I'm like, they really do become like family. And it's hard to imagine how that can be after 4 days or whatever, or 7 days.
One day. It took one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And Nick, what were you going to say? I feel like you were going to add something on.
Yeah, it was just about the, the MDMA and, we have some experience with that um, through our journey, so to speak, leading up to this ceremony and whatnot. But this was definitely, you can tell that the medicine that they gave us throughout the whole experience, throughout the whole retreat, was just pure. There was love in it. Love, you could feel it just felt really good, felt really clean, and yeah, I felt really relaxed
They
and a lot of
definitely
care.
they definitely set intention before they give us the medicine, and you can feel it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you can feel the love that they put into everything that they do there.
Absolutely. It's like also intentional. That's why I feel like people, it's one thing to do these things at home or kind of like in a party setting, but when you're doing it with healing intention in the right environment with the right support, like you get to those deeper places and you get to those deeper places together as a couple, which is so cool. And, for you guys, it sounds like you didn't have a ton of couples issues to resolve, but it was more about the internal issues being healed so you could come together as more healthy, whole individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Mhm.
Amazing. So, and what was the best part of your retreat? I know you've talked about so many good things, but what was your like favorite part?
The hard work I did. I honestly like to look back, like it was so beautiful because it was so painful, but I still find it beautiful. You know what I mean? So like that really to me is the best thing that happened
Yeah.
because it was just like, how do you find that much beauty in that much pain? You know?
That's what I always tell people. I'm like, even if you have a hard trip, or if it feels hard, the second it ends, you're gonna wish you were still going through it. Like you're gonna kind of miss it in a way. Like you're like, I kind of like it's kind of just like the beauty of the pain, you know what I mean? Until you
Yeah.
face it, you can't experience the opposite, that joy and that levity.
Yeah, I think for me it was, oh, man, and it's still hard to explain, and I'm working through. But as we talk more, it is easier to share these strange concepts in my head, into words. Um, but for me, the best part was just the realization of exactly who I am to my core, at my soul level, and just how damn powerful I am in all ways, in all times, in all lives, in all eternities, whatever you want, however you want to describe it, but just how immensely powerful, each human being has the potential to be. And that revelation for me is just like this, it's like a victory cry, really, for me.
A good quote I literally came to me in a dream. Had a dream and it was, you will heal when you know the truth of who you are. Or like,
Yeah,
I was like, whoa.
that's a good one.
That's another thing that, man, ever since, like anything that is confirmation or just it's so much more intense now. Like those, the chills or whatever. Like it's 10 times stronger now.
Mhm.
Yeah. You feel, yeah, because your
Yeah.
body's you're more attuned to that like subtle energy. It's flowing through.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then what kept you from doing a retreat sooner? So like what was there anything kind of getting in the way of you deciding to do this?
Mainly, I mean, we signed up for the retreat about as quickly as our bank accounts would allow at the time. It was more of a chance discovery. Brandy was on Facebook just scrolling through, and because she's posted and we've posted so many things about spirituality and mushrooms, or just the algorithms kind of catch up to you. So whoever the retreat's social media manager is, they did a good job because it just showed up, and we looked at it, we read about it, and we said, wow, this is calling to us, that we need to do this. We need to find a way to make it happen. And
It was already in the stars.
yeah, it was already, we already did it. We just hadn't caught up to that point in time yet.
When we got there, Nick was like, man, Nirvana looks really familiar to me.
Mhm.
And I said, well, talk to her about it. So after the ceremony, he went up to her and she said, yeah, in past lives. You know, it's just like there's no coincidences. Everything happens as it's supposed to.
Yep. It's a divine play and it's perfectly
Yeah,
planned.
all these epiphanies we're having. We're like,
Another question. So would you guys recommend, why would you recommend this to couples like who are on the fence, who are thinking, should we, shouldn't we do this? You know, what would you say to them?
it's the best thing you could ever do for yourself or for your partnership in life or just in general. Like honestly, like my life changed so much in just a day that like I'm like, damn, I should have done this a lot earlier. And I've been being pulled towards working with a shaman. I just didn't know where to look, what to do, and then you guys just popped up and I'm like reading about it and I'm like, well, this is exactly what I'm looking for, right? So I just don't feel that there's a coincidence. You know, everything happens the way it should and we were meant to come here. And I've already been telling all my friends, all my family, I'm like, you have to do this. It's hard, it's ugly, but it's going to be the best thing you're going to do for yourself.
I think as far as like as a couple, if you truly love and honor and respect your partner, I think you owe it to them to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And honestly, this kind of medicine, it, there's just, you this kind of thing can happen spontaneously where you kind of have these realizations, but the extreme knowing of yourself and just being true to who you are, like when we first met, we were engaged after 3 days, we were married after 3 months, we've been, twin flames ever since, but and always trying to be a better version of ourselves. And that accidental Kundalini awakening we had, or Samadhi experience, like it's just we're just always going to be the best version of ourselves. Like I'm not going to be able to change her. She can't change me. It has to come from within. So I think if any couples out there are on the fence about should we do it, um, go to be the best version of yourself so you can love yourself and heal from anything you need to heal from or realize it. And once you do, and you recognize the power you have in yourself and the amount of love that you can give to a person, you can just now you can look at each other and just truly, as God, the universe, Gaia, whoever you believe in, like love each other as, was written since the beginning of time.
So beautiful. I just want to cry. Like literally, that was so beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just the truth in those words. And I think when someone goes through the experience, you feel so bonded with them because you know that they've gone through what you've gone through or a similar version of it to find that truth within. As long as you're willing to surrender, right? And just to be willing to see. I love how you used the word revelation a few times throughout this talk because it's just revealing more of yourself to yourself, more of your power to and yeah, you just have to be willing to see and to face it, which isn't always easy, but it is worth it. And
yeah, not a lot of people are willing to do the hard work. They want a quick fix or, it's hard to get into your emotions, and especially if you're going way back to like childhood trauma or, just it's hard to get in there and be open and vulnerable, even with yourself, especially if it was traumatizing or damaging, and the medicine really helps you approach those areas with a little more love, sorrow, like I apologize profusely to myself for everything I did to myself, and like being able to love yourself at that level and getting back to that inner child and nurturing it, that's what we all need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I would tell them to do it. You need to do this.
Yeah, I think everybody everybody needs to do this.
Me too.
And
I'm just gonna go walking around with like flyers everywhere, banners.
the right people finds the interviews, find the truth, find the ads.
Yeah.
And then looking back, I know that the retreats are a considerable investment, right? So did you feel like the experience was worth the price that you paid?
Yeah, every penny. Yeah.
More. It's worth more than what we paid. And we are like, I'm on the same lines of thinking as Sarah. Like, I'm like, hey, let's meet up every year.
Yeah.
You know, like it's definitely somewhere I feel at home and I will be back to. Um, and like I said, like I just feel really connected to everyone there. They're part of our family. And nothing will ever change that, you know, because of that experience together.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel as well. It's like a kind of a
Yeah.
spiritual pilgrimage every year. There's more to
Mhm.
learn, more lessons, more growth. And then looking back, how was the travel to Mexico for you guys? Was that something that you were scared of, or did it feel like it was okay?
I know he normally has a lot of anxiety, normally has a lot of anxiety for flying. So when we were going there, the typical turbulence and the white knuckle,
Yeah.
holding my hand and stuff. All the flights we had afterwards, she was like, no, actually I was fine. Yeah, I have no more anxiety.
That's
Um,
so strange.
yeah, but it was fun because we got to experience, or we really appreciated being able to experience new things,
Mhm.
new areas, new places, because it just brings you more knowledge and life into your life. And Mexico just has this,
Life about
yeah,
it.
it has a pulse, it has
It
a
is
life
a
to it.
living place. It's yeah, you could just feel the life that happens from the time the sun comes up till the time it goes down. I wasn't scared once in Mexico. I felt very taken care of. Our flight got canceled because of Hurricane Milton. We're from Florida. And for 3 days, we were stuck in Mexico City, but it was fine.
Yeah.
We walked around, we enjoyed the culture, we went and bought groceries to make authentic Mexican food in Mexico. You know, it was a beautiful experience all around.
Awesome.
I
I like
know
And don't let fear stop you.
Nick, go ahead.
I was gonna say the airport when we were arriving, the airports are a little confusing for mostly English speakers. Because the way their airports function are a little bit different. You've got to catch a bus, or you don't have to catch a bus, or you're always going through some sort of security with your passport.
So definitely brush up on your Spanish.
I think there's a Google Translate app that you can download.
Yes.
And if you connect to Wi-Fi, wherever you scan, it translates. But I do feel like the Puerto Vallarta airport, especially on the way out, it's so clean, nice. There's like great.
So
Oh,
easy.
it's so
Puerto Vallarta
beautiful.
was way easier.
Puerto Vallarta is
Beautiful
great.
too. The whole area was perfect.
It is
Like,
such.
I really want to move there.
Yeah, once you do this retreat, it's very common.
Yeah,
Everybody,
it's like
it
be
pulls you.
there all the time.
Yeah, it really pulls you to want to move there. It's amazing.
Mhm.
It's so healing and the energy is so strong. Like I feel like I would wake up so early every day at the center because the energy is like there's so much energy in the air. You just
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And it's not like stressful or chaotic, you know, and you really don't, once you get in there, like anything you're worried about, like you're really not worried about, you know, because you're busy focusing on like what you need to do, setting your intentions, meditating, eating healthy, preparing your body, you know. So it's really a good place to just go and like focus on yourself and learn more about yourself.
I think that's the importance of if people can only do it one day, that's okay. But if you can do a little
Yeah.
longer for 3 or 4 or 7, it's great because you have that container that really holds you throughout that transformative period and gives you some time to integrate. But I'm glad you guys had some extra time in Mexico because I think it's nice to have some days for reflection afterwards if you have a little extra time. So
Well,
Yeah,
and
it's
honestly,
been-
the 4 days we were there, it feels like it was 2 minutes ago, but it also feels like it was like 4 months ago. Like we just so much time. It's like you become gods and you live for eons in that during that ceremony. So that kind of ceremony,
oh gosh, yeah.
we feel like we were there forever.
We feel like we were on vacation for at least a month.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. That's so awesome. Yeah, you experience that timelessness, like time doesn't have as much of a hold on you. That's
Yeah.
So like final notes, what are you each taking away from this retreat?
Just to honor, I guess just honor who I am and to reflect on the intentions that I set. One, mine was to be a man of action who follows his dreams, and that's really turned into a man who listens to his intuition and can actually understand it and act on those things that he needs to do just to keep things going forward and to love himself, all that stuff.
I think that's it. It's the like, in order to love other people the way they need to be loved, you really have to love yourself, not just your adult self, but your inner child self too. Like that person, that little kid in there needs nurturing and love. And I've also learned to like, if I start feeling like I'm bringing someone's stuff onto my back, I will stop and I will say it's not mine, and I'll do like I was in my journey, and it goes away. And so I'm like, there's so much that we took from it. There's not just one thing.
Yeah, of course.
It's like everything was so important.
Yeah, of course.
Everything.
And the way that you look at life has changed, and that's ultimately the most important, and the way that it feels to you on the inside. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any final notes that you guys would like to share before we wrap this up?
I don't know, we could talk for hours on the specifics of everything.
We have been talking for
days, So I almost feel like I need to write some sort of fictional novel and weave in all these truths just to get out the imagery and the feelings and emotions or something, like just just write a story, which is something I like to do as a child, write poetry. So
Nick, we'd love to read that. If you write something, share it. And especially we have an amazing alumni group in WhatsApp for all the people who attend our retreat. So that'd be a great first place to share. But share it with us. We'd love to read that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you.
It's really nice to have like the community with you guys that have all been through what we went through or similar, or like just having people there that understand what you're saying and believe you.
It's very validating.
Yeah.
And to feel like
very necessary.
And sharing your story and hearing someone else's story heals part of you as well. Like hearing your story, right, brought me to tears, I feel like multiple times today. Hearing Sarah's story, that was so like impactful for me as well. So the more we can share our stories, the deeper we can all heal. So thank you both so much. You're such beautiful couple and individuals, and I'm just so excited for your continued growth. And please share with us any creative projects that come out of this retreat. And please stay in touch. Our whole team loves you guys very much.
Yeah, and we love you all there too. So just look for us next year.
Absolutely. We can't wait to welcome you back.